on.
Hello and welcome to It's About Time, the talk show where we take your favourite icons from across time and bring them here to delve deep into their lives, their accomplishments and most importantly, what made them who they were. We'll also be covering important stories and events from this year, taking a look at what the world was like back then as well. Before we get to our news stories, first let's introduce our main guest for tonight's show. Our guest tonight is part of an influential duo in today's music, a vocalist, multi-instrumentalist and talented songwriter, with strong meaning behind his words and an even stronger following. And they're here to share some of their stories and talk about their most recent piece of work. But before we introduce him, let's take a sneak peek at his backstory and what he's been up to so far.
Pilots. Ever since their creation in 2009, they have distinguished themselves as a unique and influential band. Formed in Columbus, Ohio, 21 Pilots started with 4 members, Tyler Joseph, Joshua Dunn, Nick Thomas and Chris Sellier, but eventually dwindled down to the 2 members you see today, Tyler Joseph and Joshua Dunn. Their unique sound and style gained them popularity very fast in their hometown as they played various songs from their self-titled album. Which really started to kick off their career. With this album, they started to gain more followers and slowly began to perform at larger and larger venues until the release of their most recent album, Blurryface. Since its recent release, the Columbus duo have burst into the spotlight with their most popular song, Stressed Out, amassing over 1.5 billion views on YouTube alone, overtaking songs by popular artists such as Drake, Justin Bieber and The Weeknd. With their unique sound, unforgettable live performances and strong following, it's no wonder the Columbus duo are making such a large impact on the musical scene today.
Welcome to the show, 21 Pilots vocalist, Tyler Joseph.
Hello.
Hello Tyler, thanks for coming in.
How are we doing?
Doing good. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for joining us today. So, before we start with Tyler and have a good old chat, we're going to take a look at Tyler's newest project. We have some important news stories from 2015, and I can tell you it's been one hell of a year. We've had incredible events such as gay marriage legalisation, and such lows as the unfortunate events that took place in Paris. Our first story is our heartbreaking one. As you all know, there were some dreadful attacks in Paris as terrorists committed multiple strategic attacks in and around the capital, unfortunately resulting in multiple deaths and many injuries. Not only Paris, but the whole world was shook beyond repair in 2015. The first event happened at a stadium where 3 suicide bombers detonated identical suicide vests at the stadium. And then at a nearby fast food restaurant, this was followed by attacks with firearms at 5 other locations, including the Bataclan Concert Hall, where a live show was taking place. The attack ended shortly after, leaving 130 people dead and hundreds injured. French police say the attack was highly planned and dispatched armed teams to nearby houses that homed the people who were suspected of being part of the attacks. As a result of this, the French police banded together to spread a message of love and hope in the form of multiple masses and events to remember those killed in the attack. In other news, in 2015 has been a staple year for gay couples throughout America as gay marriage was recently legalised. Harry is on location at the White House where he has more on that story. Harry?
2015 has been a landmark date for same-sex couples all over the world, and most importantly, those living in America, as on this day, June 26, 2015, all bans on gay marriage have been lifted in every state in the US. I'm stood here outside the White House where the final decisions were made to lift the ban. Barack Obama has stated that the changes was a victory for America. To celebrate this new law, the White House is to be painted in rainbow-coloured lights to signify this pivotal moment.
What a great moment in American history. Those were the biggest events of 2015, and it was quite the year. That's all for our news. Now, before we get on to the big questions with Tyler, he's moved over into our studio area where he will be performing a cover of one of his favourite songs. Take it away, Tyler.
Take my whole life too. If I can't help falling in love with you, like a river flows surely to the sea, darling. So it goes, these things aren't meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too. If I can't help falling in love with you, if I can't help falling in love with you.
She's in Studio 3. She's in Studio.
I wanna be rich and I want lots of money. I don't care about clever, I don't care about funny. I want lots of clothes and a whole lot of diamonds. I heard people die while they're trying to find them. And I'll take my clothes off and it will be shameless, 'cause everyone knows that's how you get famous. I look to the sun and I look in the mirror. I'm on the right track, yeah, we're on to winning. I don't know what's right and what's real anymore, and I don't know how I'm meant to feel anymore. When do you think it will all become clear? Life's about film stars and less about mothers. It's all about fast cars and cursing each other. But it doesn't matter, 'cause I'm patching plastic, and that's what makes my life so fantastic. And I am a weapon of massive consumption, and it's not my fault, it's how programs are function. I looked at the sun and I looked in the mirror. I'm on the right track, yeah, we're on to winner. I don't know what's right and what's real anymore, and I don't know how I'm meant to feel anymore. When do you think you'll all become clear? 'Cause I'm being taken over by the fear. Forget about guns and forget ammunition, 'cause I'm killing them all on my own little mission. No, I'm not a saint, but I'm not a sinner, and everything's cool as long as I'm getting thinner. I don't know what's right and what's real anymore, and I don't know how I'm meant to feel anymore. When do you think you will all become clear? 'Cause I'm being taken over by the fear.
Wow, an amazing performance there from 21 Pilots' Tyler Joseph, who's, as we speak, legging it from our music studio to join me here on the sofa for a question and answer. An accomplished musician and a writer, lyricist, performer. Tyler Joseph, welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us again, Tyler.
Hello.
Right, so first things first. You're here to kind of, I suppose, really talk about and promote a little bit your latest album, Blurry Faces. Blurry Faces.
Blurry
Faces.
Face.
Face. Sorry.
Singular.
Why do I think it's Faces?
I don't know.
Because is it in the song as Blurry Faces?
No.
No? Okay. Well, I need to listen a bit harder. So, talk to us about your album and the single especially, Stressed Out.
Okay. Well, the album, the title of it is about mainly my insecurities. Blurry Face is a sort of the character I created to represent all of them. And in the video and on stage, I've got the black ink on my hands and my neck, and that's to show the things that I'm insecure about. So everything I make with my hands, which is mainly the music, and everything around my neck is, it feels like it's strangling me. So that's a sort of visual representation, and it sort of helps.
Where do you think these insecurities came from originally? Because obviously, you know, you're yourself and the band are getting, you know, a large amount of acclaim and recognition in the industry. But it's quite interesting to hear you say that you still feel these insecurities. So where did they come from? Where did they start?
Well, everyone's always had them. Everyone has insecurities, and when you're releasing music that pours your heart out to people and it's being shown to millions of people all the time, you know, people are always listening to it. Apparently it's good.
Yeah, I've had a listen to it, even though I can't remember what they're actually called, but I do like the album.
People can just hear 1 second of it and think, oh, it's rubbish, that, don't like it. You can just judge your music and therefore you straight away. So it just comes from that, really.
So in terms of when you wrote the album, what kind of process did you go through in the writing of it, and you know, and how do you decide on like, you know, for example, what instruments is going to take part in your albums?
Well, I play an awful lot of instruments. Piano is my main one. ukulele, bass. I play all of these on stage. In one of the tracks from the album, I play bass in most of it, while Josh is on the side playing drums, called Ride. And I just write them around these instruments. Doesn't matter which instrument I pick up, but
So it's the instruments that kind of inspires the song.
Well, it's not just that. It's, you know, I'll have something running around in my head and I'll play with that and see how I can get it out, see what sounds best.
Okay. Now you guys are known for your live shows as well. What's it like coming out of the recording studio and out on to the live stage? What's that like?
It can be very nerve-wracking.
Mm.
So the ink sort of helps to show, you know, I'm not feeling too great about it. But when I've got Josh behind me, smashing away at the drums, doing brilliantly, you know, that gives me a boost. Being out there on my own might not be great, but with Josh smashing away at those drums and looking like he's having the best time of his life,
Yeah.
it gives me a boost, and it sort of makes the show better. And it's always fun to run around on stage, jumping on top of my piano when I can.
Yeah, I think it's every kind of person's dream when they're a bit younger to kind of do that, but you're actually living the reality.
Mm.
So what kind of got you started into music in the first place? How did you get drawn into it?
I was in a couple of bands in high school. 21 Pilots was originally me and two people from high school.
Were you called?
We were still 21 Pilots.
Oh right, okay.
But
So you've had that name for quite a long
yeah,
time then.
Yeah. It was me and a drummer and a bassist, and I was on piano, and we still have the backing tracks for all the electronic music we have in the background. But they left. They needed to get on with their lives. But it was while we were still together, that I met Josh, and we hit it off. And once they left, you know, he already knew how to play drums. He'd been playing for quite a number of years. So he said, "Do you want to join the band?" And yeah.
So is Blurry Face your debut album?
No, it's our third album.
Third album, right? Okay. So what's the creative process like then? Does it different for each album, or is it the same process?
It can be different, but it's around the songs really. So first album, I wrote a lot of that on piano, and then we introduced all the electronic stuff from there, all the electronic music that gives it all the vibe and the feels. You know, we introduced bass and drums over the top. All the drums are live. A lot of the electronics programmed, but for this album, it was different for every song. I think Josh had the drum beat for Stressed Out, and that we worked from there. Yeah, it's different for a lot of the songs. Some songs are all piano bass, some are ukulele, some are bass, like Ride is bass. And
So obviously, as part of the album making, and kind of I suppose this really refers back a little bit to the live shows and stuff, you're obviously known for doing some stunts. So what kind of stunts do you do live?
well, I'd like to jump around on stage and stuff, but Josh can do backflips, and that's always good. He every now and then jumps on top of my piano, does a backflip on a bit where there's no drums, just before the build-up of the song. I run around a lot with the mic. Sometimes I think it was one point at a festival, I think in Brazil, I climbed some of the scaffolding for the stage.
Are you not worried about your own, safety at that kind of thing? It's got to be dangerous with, in a TV show, we're surrounded by cables. It's got to be even worse on a musical stage.
It's fun, isn't it?
I suppose so.
It gives more of a show.
Yeah, true. So is it just you guys on the stage?
Just us two. I'm always doing vocals and either playing, like I said, bass, piano or ukulele. And Josh is in the back smashing away at the drums.
So he's just got the one job?
Yeah, but he sort of controls the set because he has pads that are connected to a Mac which has Ableton Live on it. And through that we start and stop the tracks. It's all based around a long track that we then play over.
Awesome. Well, just remind us when the album's going to be released.
Yeah, we got the singles out so far.
Okay, and the album's out later this month.
It is, yeah.
Excellent. All right. Tyler Joseph, thank you for now.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, that is all the time we have on tonight's show. We've had some amazing live performances, some groundbreaking news stories, and a talented guest. What more could you want? Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Alex Kelly. And before we leave you, I think we might just be able to squeeze in one more performance from Tyler. But that's all for me for now. Hope you've all had a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time.
You ready? Eyes roll back if you're living fast. Where did you go? And where did you go? Your eyes go to show. And it was so rare to see you sober. So the street lights will carry us home. I'd spend my nights trying to get a grip of you, and I did my best to get my hands under your jacket, so we can make a racket. And your device